The alarm bells rang through the giant space station that served as the Galactic Council headquarters. Taeho looked up from his desk as the sound filled his office. He had worked as a diplomat for the Vorthak people for 20 years, but he had never heard those particular alarms before. His assistant rushed into the room, her blue skin darker than usual with worry. "Sir, we have received a distress signal from the Outer Rim. The emergency committee is meeting now." Taeho stood up quickly. The Outer Rim was far from the center of the galaxy. Very few people lived out there. Most of the space belonged to the humans, a species that had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago. The humans were known for being quiet and keeping to themselves. They ran mining operations and small trading posts, but they never caused any trouble. The meeting room was already full when Taeho arrived. Representatives from 12 different species sat around the large table. At the head of the table stood Commander Sujin, a tall woman from the Zalani military. Her people were known throughout the galaxy as the best peacekeepers. Sujin had short silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. The distress signal came from mining station Kepler 442b, Sujin announced to the room. The message was short but clear. She pressed a button and a voice filled the room through the speakers. The voice belonged to a human male. He sounded calm, but Taeho could hear fear underneath the steady words. "This is Administrator Wanho of mining station Kepler 442b. Unknown hostiles have entered our system. All defense platforms have been destroyed. We are requesting immediate assistance from any nearby vessels." The message ended, and the room fell silent. Taeho looked around at the other representatives. Most of them seemed confused rather than worried. "How many people work at that station?" asked the representative from the Corvan Empire. "About 40 humans," Sujin replied. "It is a small operation. They mine rare metals from the asteroid belt around Kepler 442. "Could this be equipment failure?" suggested another representative. "Humans are still learning to use galactic technology properly." Several others nodded in agreement. The humans were considered one of the younger species in the galaxy. Their technology was basic compared to most other civilizations. They had small patrol ships for protection, but nothing that could handle a real military threat. "What kind of unknown hostiles?" Taeho asked. "Pirates?" Sujin shook her head. "We tried to contact the station for more information, but there has been no response. All communication channels are dead." "Pirates would not destroy communication equipment," said the Corvan representative. "They would want to negotiate for ransom." "Maybe the humans are exaggerating," suggested someone else. "Their species tends to panic easily." Taeho frowned at this comment. In his experience, humans were actually quite calm under pressure. He had worked with several human diplomats over the years, and they had always impressed him with their steady thinking. Sujin continued her briefing. "The mining station has not responded to any messages for 6 hours. Long-range sensors show no movement in that system, but the distance makes detailed scans impossible." "What do you recommend, Commander?" asked the council chairman. "I suggest we send a small investigation fleet," Sujin replied. 3 ships should be enough to handle any pirates or help with technical problems. If the situation is more serious than we think, we can call for backup." The representatives discussed the plan for several minutes. Most agreed that it was probably a small problem that could be solved quickly. The humans had no enemies that anyone knew about. They were peaceful traders who minded their own business. "Very well," said the chairman finally. "Commander Sujin, you will lead the investigation. Take whatever ships and crew you need." The meeting ended, and Taeho walked with Sujin toward the docking bays. He had decided to join the mission as a diplomatic observer. If there were hostiles in human space, the council would need to understand the political situation. "What do you really think happened out there?" Taeho asked as they walked. Sujin was quiet for a moment. "I am not sure," she admitted. "The humans have never sent a distress signal before. In 50 years of galactic membership, they have handled all their problems internally. Maybe they finally met something they could not handle." "Maybe," Sujin agreed, but she sounded doubtful. "Or maybe we do not know the humans as well as we think we do." Taeho looked at her curiously. "What do you mean by that?" "Nothing specific," Sujin replied. "Just a feeling. The humans are always polite and cooperative, but they never share much information about their military capabilities. We assume they are weak because they act peacefully. Are you saying they might be stronger than they appear?" "I am saying we should not assume anything," Sujin said carefully. "We will know more when we reach the mining station." 2 hours later, Sujin's fleet left the space station. 3 ships carried a total of 300 peacekeeping forces, along with medical teams and engineering specialists. It was a standard response force for dealing with pirates or helping with disasters. The journey to the Outer Rim would take 4 days using the fastest hyperspace routes. During the trip, Sujin's team studied everything they could find about the mining station and the surrounding area. The system was isolated, with no other inhabited worlds nearby. The closest Council military base was 2 weeks away. The humans chose a very remote location for their mining operation, observed Do Hyun, Sujin's science officer. Why would they go so far from help? Rare metal deposits, replied Jinwoo, the communications specialist. The asteroids in that system contain materials that are very valuable but hard to find. Still seems risky, Do Hyun muttered. If something goes wrong, they are completely alone out there. Sujin listened to her crew discuss the situation, but her mind was on other things. She kept thinking about the human's voice in the distress message. Wonho had sounded afraid but not surprised. It was as if he had been expecting trouble. On the 4th day, the fleet arrived at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Sujin ordered a careful approach with all sensors active and weapons ready. She did not expect to find enemies, but it was better to be prepared. What they found was impossible to understand. The mining station was gone. Not destroyed, not abandoned, gone. Where it should have been, there was only empty space and floating debris, but the debris was arranged in perfect geometric patterns, as if someone had carefully placed each piece. "Commander," Do Hyun called from his sensor station. His voice was shaking. "You need to see this." Sujin looked at the sensor display and felt her blood turn cold. The debris was not from the mining station. The metal compositions were completely unknown. The pieces were from ships, but ships unlike anything in the galactic database, and they were huge. The smallest fragments came from vessels that must have been the size of cities. The largest pieces suggested ships as big as moons. "How many ships?" Sujin asked quietly. Do Hyun worked at his console for several minutes before answering. "Based on the debris patterns, at least 50 vessels. Maybe more. What happened to them?" "Unknown, Commander. The destruction patterns do not match any known weapons. Whatever did this was beyond our understanding." Sujin stared at the impossible scene before them. Someone or something had destroyed a fleet of giant ships in this remote system. But who? And where was the mining station? Where were the humans? Most importantly, what kind of enemy could destroy ships the size of moons? The answer, when it came, would terrify the entire galaxy. Sujin ordered her ships to spread out and search for any survivors or clues about what had happened. The scene before them made no sense. Giant ships had been destroyed, but there was no sign of the human mining station or the people who worked there. "Commander, I am picking up a signal," Jinwoo announced from his communications post. "Very weak, but it appears to be coming from inside the asteroid belt." "What kind of signal?" "Emergency beacon. Human design." Sujin felt a small hope. Maybe some of the miners had escaped and were hiding among the asteroids. "Take us there, but stay alert. Whatever destroyed those ships might still be in the area." The fleet moved carefully through the asteroid field. The emergency beacon led them to a small asteroid with mining equipment attached to its surface. Hidden inside the mining tunnel, they found the mining station's black box recorder. Do Hyun connected the device to their computer systems and began downloading the data. "The recording covers the last 48 hours before the distress signal was sent," he reported. "Play it," Sujin ordered. The main screen filled with images from inside the mining station. Sujin could see human workers going about their normal duties. Everything looked peaceful and routine. The timestamp showed this was 2 days before the distress signal. Then alarms started ringing. The humans moved quickly but without panic to their emergency stations. A man with graying hair and kind eyes appeared on the screen. This was Wonho, the station administrator whose voice they had heard in the distress message. "All personnel, report to stations," Wonho announced calmly. "We have incoming contacts on long-range sensors." The scene changed to show the station's control room. Wonho stood beside a woman named Mira, who was operating the sensor equipment. Other humans worked at various stations, monitoring communications and defensive systems. "How many ships?" Wonho asked. "Sensors are having trouble getting clear readings," Mira replied. "The contacts are huge, sir. Much larger than anything in our database. Show me. The display screen showed dots moving toward their system. Su-jin counted at least 50 contacts, just as Do-hyun had estimated from the debris. But as she watched, more contacts appeared. Then more. Sir, Mira said, her voice tight with worry. I count over 200 vessels. The smallest ones are 15 kilometers long. The largest, she paused, checking her readings. The largest is over 300 kilometers. Won-ho was quiet for a moment. Any response to our communications? Yes, sir. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. Mira pressed a button and a new voice filled the control room. It was deep and harsh, speaking in a language that sounded ancient and threatening. Unknown species will surrender immediately, the voice said, now speaking in galactic standard language. Your worlds will be added to the hegemony. Resistance will result in complete destruction. Su-jin felt ice in her veins. The hegemony was a name from ancient history, a civilization that had conquered half the galaxy thousands of years ago before mysteriously disappearing. Most people thought they were just legends, hegemony vessels. Won-ho replied into his communicator. This is Administrator Won-ho of Mining Station Kepler 442b. We are a peaceful mining operation under the protection of the Galactic Council. We request that you honor galactic law and withdraw from this system. The response was immediate and brutal. The Galactic Council is irrelevant. Your species will serve or be destroyed. You have 1 hour to surrender. Won-ho turned to his crew. Send the distress signal immediately. Use all frequencies and emergency protocols. Sir, Mira said quietly, even if the Council responds immediately, help is weeks away. I know, Won-ho replied, but this is not about us anymore. The hegemony is not stopping here. Look at their course. Mira checked her sensors and went pale. They are heading for the galactic core worlds after they finish here. Exactly. The distress signal is not to ask for rescue. It is to warn the galaxy what is coming. Su-jin felt a chill as she realized the truth. The humans had not been calling for help. They had been trying to save everyone else. The recording continued. For the next hour, the humans worked frantically to gather information about the hegemony fleet. They recorded ship designs, weapon signatures, and communication frequencies. All of this data was added to the emergency beacon that would later be found by Su-jin's team. Hegemony fleet has reached the outer system, Mira reported. They are beginning their attack approach. Any word from our patrol ships? Won-ho asked. Patrol ships are responding, but sir, Mira hesitated. Our patrol ships are very small compared to what is coming. Won-ho nodded. I know. Do your best to record everything. The galaxy needs to know what the hegemony is capable of. The humans continued their work with calm efficiency. Su-jin was impressed by their behavior. Facing certain death, they focused on gathering intelligence that might help others survive. Then something impossible happened. Sir, Mira called out, her voice filled with surprise. New contacts approaching from the outer system. Unknown configuration. More hegemony ships? No, sir. These are different. Much different. The sensor display changed to show new ships entering the system. Su-jin leaned forward to get a better look. These vessels were clearly human in design, but they were enormous. Each ship was larger than the biggest hegemony vessel. Where did those come from? Do-hyun whispered beside Su-jin. On the recording, Won-ho and his crew looked equally surprised. Mira, are those our ships? Yes, sir. Human design, human communication frequencies. But they are not in any of our databases. How many? 12 ships, sir. No, wait. Mira worked at her controls frantically. More are arriving. I count 36 ships now. The hegemony fleet had stopped their advance and was turning to face the new arrivals. Communications between the hegemony ships filled with angry voices demanding to know who dared challenge them. The response from the human fleet was brief and terrifying. A calm female voice spoke in perfect galactic standard. Hegemony forces, you have threatened peaceful galactic citizens. Withdraw immediately or face destruction. The hegemony commander laughed. Unknown species, you face the might of the hegemony. We have conquered galaxies. Your small fleet will be destroyed in minutes. You have been warned, the human voice replied. What happened next broke every law of physics that Su-jin knew. The human ships seemed to flicker out of existence, then reappear instantly among the hegemony fleet. Weapons fire filled the space between the ships, but it was unlike anything Su-jin had ever seen. The hegemony ships fired energy beams that could destroy planets. The human ships absorbed the attacks without any damage. In response, the human weapons did not just destroy hegemony ships. They seemed to erase them from reality itself. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, the entire hegemony fleet was gone. Not destroyed, not scattered, gone. There was no debris, no energy signatures, nothing to show they had ever existed except for the metal fragments that Sujin's team had found. The human fleet turned toward the mining station. The same calm voice spoke again. "Mining station Kepler 442b. This is Admiral Yanwu of the Human Protection Fleet. Are you safe?" Wonho stared at his communication panel for a long moment before answering. "Admiral, this is Wonho. We are safe, but confused. We had no idea that humans had ships like yours." "Most humans do not know either," Admiral Yanwu replied. "Our existence is classified. We operate in secret to protect human interests and our galactic neighbors. What happens now? Now you follow Emergency Protocol 7. Pack essential supplies and prepare for evacuation. This incident must remain classified." Wonho nodded. "Understood, Admiral. What about our mining equipment?" "Leave everything. We will handle cleanup. The galaxy must not know what happened here until we decide how much to reveal." The recording ended abruptly. Sujin and her crew sat in stunned silence, trying to process what they had seen. "Commander," Do-hyun said finally, "what do we do with this information?" Sujin looked at the sensor readings showing the impossible debris patterns around them. The humans had secret fleets with technology that made them the most powerful species in the galaxy. They had been hiding their true capabilities for 50 years. "We report everything to the Council," she said quietly, "and we pray that the humans remain friendly." But even as she said it, Sujin wondered if friendship mattered anymore. If the humans could erase an entire hegemony fleet from existence, what could anyone do to stop them if they decided to change their peaceful ways? The galaxy was about to learn that they had been living under the protection of predators who chose to be guardians. Sujin tried to contact human space immediately after watching the black box recording, but every communication attempt failed. Human colonies and trading posts remained silent. Their normal patrol ships were nowhere to be found. It was as if the entire human species had simply vanished from galactic communications. "Commander," Jin Woo reported from his communication station, "I am detecting massive energy signatures moving through human space. The readings are unlike anything in our databases." "Show me," Sujin ordered. The tactical display filled with energy traces moving across star systems at impossible speeds. Whatever was creating these signatures was traveling faster than any known technology allowed. The energy levels were so high that they were overloading sensor equipment across multiple sectors. Do-hyun worked frantically at his science station. "Commander, these energy signatures are causing problems throughout the galaxy. 3 different species have reported sensor failures. The Corvan Empire says their deep space monitoring stations have been blinded. Are the humans responsible for this? Unknown, but the energy traces are moving from human territory toward the galactic center." Sujin felt a growing sense of unease. The humans had revealed technology that could erase entire fleets from existence. Now something was moving through space with enough energy to blind sensor networks across the galaxy. The connection seemed obvious, but the implications were terrifying. "Continue trying to contact human authorities," she ordered. "All frequencies, all protocols." For 3 days, Sujin's fleet remained in the Kepler 442 system, studying the debris and trying to understand what they had witnessed. The metal fragments from the destroyed hegemony ships contained elements that should not exist. The molecular structure suggested technology thousands of years ahead of anything the galaxy had seen. On the 4th day, they finally received a response to their communication attempts. "Council vessel. This is Admiral Yanwu of the Human Protection Fleet." The voice was the same calm female voice from the black box recording. "Your presence in this system has been noted." Sujin felt relief mixed with apprehension. "Admiral Yanwu, this is Commander Sujin of the Galactic Council Investigation Fleet. We found the emergency beacon from mining station Kepler 442b and came to offer assistance." "No assistance is required, Commander. The situation has been resolved. Admiral, we need to discuss what happened here. The Council has many questions about the hegemony fleet and how it was destroyed." There was a long pause before Admiral Yanwu responded. "Commander Sujin, Council forces are advised to maintain distance from this area. We are handling the situation." "What situation?" "The hegemony fleet is gone. The immediate threat has been eliminated, but the larger situation requires ongoing attention. Human forces are currently tracking down remaining hegemony elements throughout the galaxy. Sujin exchanged glances with her crew. Remaining elements? How many hegemony ships are there? The fleet that attacked the mining station was a scout force. Intelligence indicates the main hegemony armada consists of over 10,000 vessels. They have been moving through dark space for centuries, conquering isolated systems and building their strength. The number hit Su Jin like a physical blow. 10,000 ships, each capable of destroying planets. The galaxy had no military force that could stand against such power. Admiral, the Galactic Council must be informed immediately. We need to coordinate our defense efforts. Defense efforts are unnecessary, Commander. Human forces are adequate to handle this threat. Admiral, with respect, even your advanced technology cannot possibly defeat 10,000 ships. We need to evacuate civilian populations and prepare planetary defenses. Another long pause. Commander, you witnessed 17 minutes of engagement between our scout fleet and hegemony forces. Are you confident in your assessment of our capabilities? Sujin remembered the impossible battle from the recording. Human ships that could appear and disappear instantly. Weapons that erased enemies from existence. Technology that defied every known law of physics. Admiral, the Council needs to understand what humanity is capable of. We have been working together for 50 years, but clearly we know very little about your true capabilities. That is correct, Commander. Humanity has chosen to keep certain aspects of our civilization private. This situation has forced us to reveal more than we intended. Why? Why hide your technology? Why pretend to be a minor species? Because peace is preferable to fear, Commander. When species discover that their neighbors possess overwhelming military superiority, relationships become complicated. We chose to appear harmless to maintain galactic stability. Sujin understood the wisdom in this approach, but it also raised disturbing questions. How many other human fleets existed? What other capabilities were they hiding? Were there human ships watching every council world? Invisible guardians ensuring good behavior? Admiral, what are your intentions regarding the hegemony threat? The hegemony will be eliminated completely. No survivors, no scattered fleets, no possibility of return. This threat ends now. The cold certainty in Admiral Yanwu's voice sent chills down Sujin's spine. She had heard rumors about human efficiency, but this was something else entirely. This was the voice of a predator that had decided its prey must die. How long will this operation take? Current projections suggest 6 months for complete elimination of all hegemony forces. We have located their main staging areas and will begin systematic destruction immediately. 6 months to destroy 10,000 ships scattered across the galaxy. It seemed impossible. But after watching the mining station recording, Sujin was no longer sure what was impossible for humans. Admiral, what about the galactic government? The Council has procedures for dealing with threats of this magnitude. Commander, the Council's procedures assume threats that can be reasoned with or contained. The hegemony cannot be reasoned with. They view all other species as slaves or food. Containment is not possible when they possess planet-killing technology. The only solution is complete elimination. Sujin knew Admiral Yanwu was right, but the casual way she discussed genocide was unsettling. What happens after the hegemony is gone? Humanity will continue as before. We will maintain our peaceful trading relationships and diplomatic connections. The only difference is that the galaxy will know we are capable of defending our interests when necessary. And if other species feel threatened by your capabilities, they should feel secure, not threatened. Humanity has no interest in conquest or expansion. We prefer peaceful coexistence. However, any species that threatens galactic stability will discover that our protection extends to all peaceful civilizations. The implication was clear. Humanity was not just defending itself. It was claiming responsibility for galactic security. They were announcing themselves as the galaxy's new protectors, whether anyone wanted their protection or not. Admiral, the Council will need to discuss this development. Of course, Commander. Feel free to share the recording you discovered with Council leadership. They should understand the new situation clearly. You know about the black box? We know about everything that happens in our territory, Commander. The mining station was ordered to record the encounter for exactly this purpose. The galaxy needed to see what the hegemony was capable of, and what humanity is capable of in response. Sujin realized that the entire incident had been planned. The humans had allowed the hegemony to attack the mining station, knowing it would create a record that the Council would eventually find. They had orchestrated the perfect demonstration of their power while appearing to be innocent victims. This was all intentional. The hegemony threat was real, Commander. Our response was proportional to the threat level. However, we did ensure that the galactic community would have evidence of both the danger and our capability to address it. Why reveal yourselves now? Because hiding is no longer possible. The hegemony knows about our technology now. Other ancient threats may also be awakening. It is time for the galaxy to understand that humanity is prepared to defend peaceful civilizations against any threat. Admiral Yan Wu's transmission ended, leaving Su Jin and her crew in stunned silence. The humans had just announced that they were the galaxy's new guardians, backed by technology that could erase civilizations from existence. Over the following days, reports began arriving from across the galaxy. Human fleets were appearing in systems where no human presence had ever been detected. Ancient deep space monitoring stations were registering energy signatures that broke their equipment. Hegemony ships that had been hiding in dark space for centuries were being hunted down and destroyed. The galaxy watched in growing awe and terror as humanity demonstrated what it meant to be the children of a death world. They were not just technologically superior. They were systematic, relentless, and absolutely committed to eliminating any threat to galactic peace. But the most terrifying part was their calm efficiency. There was no anger, no hatred, no desire for revenge. There was only the cold calculation of a species that had decided the hegemony needed to die, and would accept nothing less than complete success. The galaxy was learning that they had been living under the protection of predators all along. The galaxy watched in growing terror as humanity began their systematic destruction of the hegemony. What had started as a defensive action quickly became something far more frightening. The humans were not just defending themselves, they were hunting. Su Jin's fleet had been ordered to maintain distance but continue monitoring human operations. What they witnessed over the following weeks challenged everything they thought they knew about warfare, technology, and the nature of humanity itself. The first major engagement occurred in the Terminus sector, where a hegemony staging area had been hidden for over 200 years. Long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures as human ships appeared without warning in the system. "Commander," Do-hyun reported, his voice tight with disbelief. "The human fleet just materialized inside the hegemony defensive perimeter. They bypassed all early warning systems." "How many human ships?" 24 vessels. The hegemony force consists of over 300 ships, including 12 planet killers. Su Jin studied the sensor readings. The humans were outnumbered 15-1, facing ships designed to destroy entire worlds. In any normal engagement, it would be a massacre. The battle lasted 8 minutes. When it ended, the hegemony fleet was gone. Not destroyed, not scattered, gone. The human ships had somehow erased them from existence so completely that not even atomic particles remained. The only evidence of the battle was the energy discharge that overloaded sensors across 3 star systems. "How is this possible?" Do-hyun whispered. Su Jin had no answer. The humans were using technology that seemed to rewrite the fundamental laws of physics. Their weapons did not just destroy matter. They removed it from reality itself. Over the following days, similar reports arrived from across the galaxy. Hegemony fleets that had been hiding in dark space for centuries were being located and eliminated with impossible precision. Human ships appeared without warning, destroyed their targets completely, and vanished again before anyone could understand how they had done it. But the most disturbing aspect was not the technology. It was the systematic nature of the campaign. The humans were not just reacting to threats. They were hunting down every single hegemony ship in the galaxy, with the methodical efficiency of exterminators. "Commander," Jin Woo called from his communication station. "We are receiving a transmission from Hegemony Command." Su Jin was surprised. The hegemony had maintained communication silent since the first attack. "Put it through." The voice that filled the bridge was harsh and desperate. "This is Commander Kyung Min of the Hegemony 4th Fleet. We request immediate communication with human authorities." Su Jin looked at her crew in amazement. The hegemony was trying to negotiate. The ancient terror of the galaxy was asking for talks. "Hegemony vessel," came the immediate human response. "This is Admiral Yan Wu. State your business." "Admiral, the hegemony wishes to discuss terms for cessation of hostilities. We are prepared to withdraw from this galaxy and never return. Terms were available before you attacked peaceful mining operations, Commander Kyung Min. That opportunity has passed. Admiral, please reconsider. The hegemony offers tribute, territorial concessions, technology sharing. We can provide valuable intelligence about other threats in dark space. Commander Kyungmin, you have spent centuries conquering and enslaving peaceful species. You view other sentient beings as property to be owned or resources to be consumed. Negotiation with such creatures is not possible. Admiral, we can change. The hegemony can learn to coexist peacefully with other species. There was a long pause before Admiral Yanwu responded. Her voice remained calm, but Sujin could hear the absolute finality in her words. Commander, your species has had thousands of years to learn peaceful coexistence. Instead, you chose conquest and slavery. The time for negotiation ended when you threatened our neighbors. Then what do you want from us? Nothing, Commander. We want nothing from you because we want nothing of you to remain. The transmission ended abruptly. Within hours, reports confirmed that Commander Kyungmin's fleet had been located and eliminated. The hegemony had tried to surrender, offering everything they possessed, and humanity had refused to even consider their terms. Sujin realized that the humans were not fighting a war. They were conducting an extermination. The hegemony would not be defeated or driven away. They would be erased from existence so completely that future generations would wonder if they had ever been real. Commander, Do Hyun said quietly, we are receiving intelligence reports from across the galaxy. The systematic elimination is accelerating. Sujin reviewed the incoming data. Human fleets were appearing simultaneously in dozens of systems. They had somehow divided their forces to conduct multiple operations across impossible distances. The mathematics of it made no sense. Even with faster-than-light travel, coordinating attacks across the entire galaxy should take years. How are they moving so quickly? Unknown, Commander. Our best scientists believe they are using some form of instantaneous transportation technology. They appear to be ignoring the normal limitations of space and time. Sujin studied the battle reports with growing unease. The humans were not just technologically superior, they were operating according to completely different rules of reality. They moved through space as if distance meant nothing. They destroyed enemies by removing them from existence itself. They coordinated operations across the galaxy as if they were fighting in a single star system. Most disturbing of all was their precision. In every engagement, human forces eliminated their targets without causing any damage to nearby civilian populations or neutral shipping. They could erase a planet-sized hegemony battleship while leaving a small trading post in the same system completely untouched. Commander, Jinwoo announced, we are receiving a priority transmission from Council headquarters. Put it through. Taeho's familiar voice filled the bridge, but he sounded shaken. Sujin, you need to return to headquarters immediately. The Council is in emergency session. What is the situation, Taeho? Panic, Sujin. Complete panic. Half the galaxy is demanding that we stop the humans before they turn their attention to other species. The other half is begging for human protection against unknown threats. What does the Council plan to do? I have no idea. How do you negotiate with a species that can erase fleets from existence? What do you offer to beings who can travel instantly across the galaxy? The humans have made themselves the ultimate power in the galaxy, and we have no idea what they want. Sujin understood his fear. The humans had revealed capabilities that made every other species insignificant by comparison. They could destroy any enemy, reach any location, and ignore any attempt to stop them. In the space of a few weeks, they had transformed from a minor trading partner into the galaxy's supreme predator. Taeho, the humans say they want to maintain peaceful coexistence. They claim to have no interest in conquest. And if they change their minds, if they decide that other species are threats to galactic stability, we have seen what they do to threats, Sujin. Before Sujin could respond, Admiral Yanwu's voice filled the bridge again. Commander Sujin, this is Admiral Yanwu. Please return to Council headquarters and inform the leadership that humanity will be sending a representative to address their concerns. Admiral, the Council would welcome the opportunity for dialogue. Commander, the Council should understand that this is not a negotiation. We will be explaining the new situation and how it will function going forward. The age of uncertainty about galactic security is ending. The transmission ended, leaving Sujin and her crew in stunned silence. The humans were not asking for permission or seeking approval. They were announcing that they had taken responsibility for galactic security, whether anyone wanted them to or not. As Sujin's fleet began the journey back to Council headquarters, Reports continued to arrive about the ongoing hegemony elimination. Human forces were moving through the galaxy like a plague, seeking out every hidden base, every secret fleet, every individual hegemony survivor. But what terrified the galaxy most was not the technology or the efficiency. It was the calm certainty with which humanity conducted their extermination campaign. There was no anger, no hatred, no desire for revenge. There was only the cold determination of a species that had decided the hegemony needed to die, and would accept nothing less than complete success. The galaxy was beginning to understand that they had been living under the protection of the ultimate predators all along. Predators who had chosen to be guardians but who retained all the lethal efficiency of their true nature. And now those guardians had decided to reveal themselves to the galaxy. 6 months after the first hegemony attack, the impossible had become reality. The ancient terror of the galaxy was extinct. Not defeated, not scattered, not driven into hiding, extinct. Humanity had hunted down every hegemony ship, every hidden base, every individual survivor, and erased them from existence so completely that only historical records remained to prove they had ever existed. The Galactic Council, headquarters buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from hundreds of species gathered for the most important meeting in galactic history. Sujin stood in the observer section, watching as beings who had once considered themselves the galaxy's dominant powers waited anxiously to learn their fate. Taeho approached her, his blue skin pale with worry. "Have you seen the reports from the Outer Rim?" Sujin nodded grimly. "Human fleets are stationed in every major star system. They appeared overnight without any advance warning. Not just stationed," Taeho corrected. "They have been there all along. Our intelligence services finally detected the stealth technology they have been using. Human ships have been watching every council world for decades. The implications were staggering. Humanity had been monitoring the entire galaxy, while pretending to be a minor species interested only in peaceful trading. They had watched, learned, and prepared for this moment when they would reveal their true nature." "How many ships?" Sujin asked. "We stopped counting at 10,000. Our sensors cannot penetrate their stealth technology well enough to get accurate numbers." A hush fell over the chamber as the main doors opened. Admiral Yanwu entered, flanked by 2 other humans in similar uniforms. She walked calmly to the speaker's platform, ignoring the hundreds of eyes fixed on her with mixtures of fear, awe, and desperate hope. Admiral Yanwu was smaller than Sujin had expected, with short black hair and calm dark eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. She wore a simple uniform with no decorations or rank insignia. Nothing about her appearance suggested the power to reshape galactic civilization. "Representatives of the Galactic Council," Admiral Yanwu began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. "I am Admiral Yanwu of the Human Protection Fleet. I am here to explain the new situation and how galactic society will function going forward." The chairman of the council, an elderly Vorthak like Taeho, stood up shakily. "Admiral, the council welcomes this opportunity for dialogue. We hope we can work together to ensure galactic peace and prosperity. Chairman, this is not a dialogue. This is an announcement. Humanity is assuming responsibility for galactic security. This decision is not subject to negotiation or approval." The blunt statement sent ripples of shock through the chamber. Several representatives stood up to protest, but Admiral Yanwu continued speaking without acknowledging them. "For the past 6 months, human forces have eliminated the hegemony threat completely. No hegemony ships, bases, or individuals remain anywhere in the galaxy. This operation required the deployment of technology and resources that demonstrate humanity's capability to defend galactic civilization against any threat." "Admiral," interrupted the representative from the Corvan Empire, "what gives humanity the right to make this decision for the entire galaxy?" Admiral Yanwu looked at him with mild interest. "The same right that any species has to defend itself and its neighbors against genocide. The hegemony intended to enslave or destroy every sentient species in the galaxy. We prevented this. But why hide your capabilities for so long? Why pretend to be a minor species?" "Because peace is preferable to fear," Admiral Yanwu replied. "When species discover that their neighbors possess overwhelming military superiority, relationships become complicated. We chose to appear harmless to maintain galactic stability." Another representative stood up. "What are your intentions now? Will humanity conquer the galaxy like the hegemony planned to do?" Humanity has no interest in conquest or expansion. We prefer peaceful coexistence and mutual prosperity. However, any species that threatens galactic stability will discover that our protection extends to all peaceful civilizations. Su Jin felt a chill at the casual way Admiral Yan Wu delivered what amounted to a threat. Humanity was not asking for cooperation. They were announcing that they had taken control of galactic security and would enforce their definition of acceptable behavior. The chairman tried to regain control of the situation. Admiral, surely we can establish some form of cooperative framework. The Council has procedures for dealing with galactic security issues. Your procedures assume threats that can be reasoned with or contained. Admiral Yan Wu replied. Recent events have demonstrated that such assumptions are not always valid. Humanity will handle threats that exceed Council capabilities. And who decides what constitutes a threat? Demanded the Corvin representative. We do. The simple answer silenced the chamber. Humanity was claiming the right to decide which species posed threats to galactic stability. Given their demonstrated capabilities, no one could prevent them from acting on those decisions. Admiral, Teho said, standing up in the diplomatic section. What happens to species that disagree with human decisions? Admiral Yan Wu looked at him directly. Peaceful disagreement is always acceptable. Species that attempt to destabilize galactic civilization through aggression, conquest, or genocide will be stopped. Stopped how? The same way we stopped the hegemony. The threat was clear. Humanity would erase any species that violated their definition of acceptable behavior. They would not negotiate, compromise, or show mercy. They would simply eliminate the problem completely. What about species that want to remain independent? Asked another representative. All species remain independent within their own territories. Humanity will not interfere in internal affairs unless those affairs threaten other species. We are guardians, not conquerors. Su Jin realized that Admiral Yan Wu was describing a new form of galactic government. Humanity would allow other species to govern themselves freely, but would act as the ultimate authority on matters of galactic security. It was benevolent dictatorship on a galactic scale. The session continued for hours as representatives asked increasingly desperate questions about their future under human protection. Admiral Yan Wu answered each question with the same calm certainty. Humanity would maintain galactic peace by whatever means necessary. Other species could continue their normal activities as long as they did not threaten their neighbors. As the meeting concluded, Admiral Yan Wu made one final announcement. Human liaison offices will be established in all major systems to facilitate communication and cooperation. Any species that requires assistance with security threats or natural disasters should contact these offices immediately. She paused, looking around the chamber at the hundreds of anxious faces. The galaxy is now under the protection of humanity. This protection is not conditional on your approval or cooperation. It is a fact of existence that you must accept. Admiral Yan Wu left the chamber, followed by her companions. The representatives sat in stunned silence, trying to process what had just happened. In the space of one meeting, humanity had announced that they were the galaxy's new rulers. Later, as Su Jin walked through the station corridors with Teho, they discussed the new reality they faced. Do you think they mean it about being protectors rather than conquerors? Teho asked. I think they believe it, Su Jin replied. But the practical difference may be minimal. They have the power to destroy any species that opposes them. Whether they use that power for protection or conquest depends entirely on their definition of acceptable behavior. And if we disagree with their definitions? Su Jin remembered the casual way Admiral Yan Wu had described erasing the hegemony from existence. Then we pray that our disagreement remains peaceful. Over the following weeks, human liaison offices appeared in every major system, just as Admiral Yan Wu had promised. The humans were polite, helpful, and efficient. They assisted with disaster relief, mediated disputes between species, and provided protection against pirates and raiders. But everyone understood the unspoken truth. The humans were not offering their services. They were establishing their authority. The galaxy now existed under the protection of predators who had chosen to be guardians. Reports began arriving about human capabilities that had been hidden for decades. Space stations that had been thought to be empty asteroids were revealed to be massive military installations. Trade ships that had carried simple cargo were discovered to possess weapons that could destroy planets. Human civilians who had seemed harmless were identified as soldiers with centuries of military experience. The greatest shock came when So Young, the human science director, addressed the council about their technology. She explained calmly that what the galaxy had witnessed during the hegemony elimination was standard peacekeeping equipment used by routine patrol forces. Standard equipment? The Corvin representative had asked in disbelief. Yes, So Young had replied. Our primary defense fleets use significantly more advanced technology. The weapon systems you observed were selected for precision and efficiency, not maximum capability. The implication was clear. Humanity possessed technology so far beyond galactic understanding that their devastating weapons were considered basic tools.